I'm Michael Seitz, joined by Alberto Calderon. This is Cal and Seitz. Merry Christmas, everyone, here on this Friday. We got a jam-packed show, a lot of NFL today. Really the only thing that's going on this weekend besides the NBA. But the NHL did release their schedule the other day, so we will take time to talk about that before we get into this week's NFL action. So let's jump right into it. Alberto, your initial thoughts on the NHL schedule, and did they do it right? Did they get it wrong? What are your thoughts?
I like it, as long as we're playing hockey, as long as we're on track for 21, 22, and as long as we crown a champion this year. I'm happy. I like Rangers Islanders opening day. I think the 14th or so, or that Thursday. That's going to be fun. So I'm happy. What are your thoughts?
I think they did a good job with it, and they already had the division realignment to reduce travel, and they reduced it even more by the way that they scheduled these games. So teams will play each other back to back, 2 games in 3 days in most situations, at the same place. So I know the Penguins open up on the 13th and the 15th. Both games are in Philadelphia. Then they come home for 2 against, I think it's Washington. Then they host somebody else for 2. Then they go somewhere for 2. And then they host somebody for 2. So it's less travel back and forth, less wear and tear on the teams who, they're going to be playing a lot of games in a low amount of days. So I think it's pretty genius what they did there. Also, we get to see Calgary and Edmonton 10 times, not 9. And I'm really excited for that. So,
wow.
Some opening night matchups here. Obviously, Penguins Flyers. I believe it is. Excuse me, let me pull it up real quick. It is Penguins Flyers, Blackhawks Lightning. Lightning will raise their banner there. Canadiens Maple Leafs should be a fun one. Canucks Oilers should be good, and Blues Avalanche, if not the game of the night, is second to the Penguins and Flyers, in my opinion. But that might be a little biased. So.
And those 2 games are good. Those 2 games are they're a great way to kick off the NHL season.
And they still haven't announced times yet. You would assume that Blackhawks Lightning would probably either be on NBC or NBCSN for the banner raisings. And once again, you'd have to assume that Canucks Oilers would probably be the late game, national late game.
Definitely.
So it'd be very interesting to see some other first matchups for teams. Caps Sabres, Bruins Devils, Battle of New York, Rangers Islanders. The Stars go to the Panthers, Hurricanes, Red Wings. Jackets and Preds, a battle of 99 expansion teams. Flames and Jets. Canucks Oilers, as I already said. Sharks Coyotes. Ducks and Knights, and the Wild and the Kings. The one team that does not play on the first 2 days is the Ottawa Senators, and they will get the Maple Leafs on the 15th. So it should be fun. And we just did our fantasy hockey draft last night. That was interesting.
Yeah.
So we'll see. You got to look at matchups like we said before. Some divisions are weaker than others. Some divisions are stronger than others. And like I said before, we will have probably a full show on the NHL, or almost a full show on the NHL right before puck drop on that Tuesday, the 12th, where we're going to be dissecting, I don't know about every team, but most teams, picking MVPs, Conn Smythes, Vezinas, Cup winners, all that good stuff. So anything else to add on the NHL before we move on?
No, we're good.
All right. Well, let's go to college football very quickly. There's one game I want to talk about.
Okay.
And it is on the 26th. Tomorrow is Liberty in Coastal Carolina and the FBC Mortgage Cure Bowl. 9-1 Liberty Flames. They were ranked earlier this year, and obviously the 11-0 Chanticleers, who are 12th in the country. Coastal is 7.5-point favorites. What are you expecting from this game?
I'm expecting Liberty's 23rd, right? Aren't they 23rd?
No, they're not ranked. They were 23rd. They were up there earlier in the year.
They were. I expect Coastal Carolina to take care of business in this game. I expect them to cover. Obviously, they showed why they're better than BYU in that little I don't even know what you want to call that game. Little like FBS or little
playoff game. I don't even know.
I don't even know what to call that. But they showed why they're the tallest team in the country. I expect them to cover. I don't know too much about Liberty. I do know that they were high ranked or highly ranked for their type of caliber team. earlier in the year. I know that they beat Syracuse earlier on. They ran all over Syracuse.
Syracuse stinks.
Syracuse things, but I mean, it's you don't really expect that from a
That's
Liberty team against Syracuse. Um, but Coastal Carolina should take care of business there in that bowl.
I agree with you. I would have loved to see the Chanticleers get somebody else that was ranked in a Power 5 school,
Yeah, for
especially.
sure.
That would have been fantastic. I think it's kind of insulting that they got Liberty. Not that Liberty's not good. I think it should be a pretty good game. I expect Coastal to take care of business, but I could see Liberty hanging around. But I was really hoping they would get somebody like a Colorado, Texas, Oklahoma State, Miami, somebody like that. Somebody in
Yeah.
the lower than them in the rankings, but still a Power 5 school where it would be a good game. Or obviously that didn't happen. So we'll have more, like I said, on the Bulls as we get closer to them, the major ones, at
Yep.
least. So stick around for that later next week, I believe. But let's finally move on to the NFL. We're going to start here, Dolphins and Raiders, tomorrow night at 8:15 out in Vegas. Miami is 3-point favorites in this one. Who you got?
I got Miami. The way that Oakland or excuse me Vegas is trending, I gotta stop saying Oakland. The way that Vegas is trending is bad. They basically look like a 4-win team the last couple of weeks. And Miami needs this. If they want to make the playoffs, they need to get this victory. They should win. I'm surprised the line is not higher than 3. Even though they're away, I would look at a 5 or 6 point spread favoring Miami. But Miami, they should be able to stifle. I think Mariota's going to play, right? Is it Mariota?
I don't know. I believe, is Carr healthy? I don't think Carr's healthy, actually.
I don't know. Mariota looked good last week. I mean, but it really shouldn't matter for Miami, whoever they match up against. That defense should be able to stifle whoever Vegas throws out there for the game.
They should be able to. They should
I got
be
Miami covering pretty big in this one.
You think Miami's covering? Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
I do not see Derek Carr on the injury report at all.
So you should be suited up then.
We should be suited up. We could be wrong, but I'm looking everywhere. I don't see him on the injury report anywhere. I don't care who's playing quarterback for the Raiders. They're winning the game.
The Raiders?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
This is a typical trap game for the Dolphins. They go to Buffalo week 17. They want to beat the Bills, even if Josh Allen doesn't play, because they might have that 2 seed clinched up.
Yeah.
Even if Allen doesn't play, they're still going to want to beat the Bills, that defense. They're going to want to get into playoff shape. They might be fighting for their playoff lives, but this has loss written all over it for a young team. I think that young defense might struggle. I don't like Tua in this game at all, even though the Raiders aren't anything special on the defensive side of the ball. I'm just getting the vibe here that the Raiders are going to win this game. I think it's going to be close. I think it might go to overtime. But I like the veteran QBs, whether it's Mariota or Carr, in this one.
Okay. I could definitely see that happening. This is an up-and-coming team, and like we keep saying, 2 years away. They're already 2 years ahead of schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that happening. They're looking at Buffalo right now. So I don't – and,
Don't get me wrong. I'm rooting for the Dolphins in this game. But
yeah, I would like to see them in the playoffs. I'd like to see Tua. I like Tua. I like what I've seen from him so far. But you're right. This is a typical trap game, regardless if Allen is playing for Buffalo week 17. They're in that playoff spot right now. They need that. They need this.
They need this because the Ravens are more than likely going to finish 11-5. Their last 2 games are very easy.
Yeah.
Against the Giants and Bengals. The Colts play the Steelers this week, which we'll get to in a second, and the Jaguars week 17, that's the Jags' only win.
Yeah.
The Titans have Packers this week, and then the Texans. And then who's the other team down there? The Browns have the Jets and Steelers, so they need to win both these games. I don't know if they will.
For sure.
All right, we'll move on to the Colts and Steelers in Pittsburgh. The Colts are favored by 1.5. I think it should be higher, personally. I have lost most of, if not all of my faith in the Steelers team at this point. Roethlisberger needs to wake up. I don't know how else to say it.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching some of the film of the Cincinnati game the other day, and On the play that Juju got clocked, Juju ran a little low crossing route, and Claypool ran a high crossing route. The safety that hit him, who was the safety that hit him? Hill?
I think so. Or Johnson.
I think it was Hill.
Hill.
So if Hill bites on Juju, then Claypool, in theory, is wide open 15 to 20 yards down the field, and he probably goes to the house with it. If Hill plays back, you have Juju for the first down. Even though it's 3rd and 7, he should be able to run for those extra 5 yards. Hill bit hard on Juju. Chase Claypool had nobody within a 25-yard range of him. Ben
Really?
didn't see him at all.
Oh, man.
And that was not the only instance of that happening. So
He had tunnel vision the entire game, basically.
it was bad. That first half of football might have been the worst first half he's played in his career. It was bad. He looked better in the second half, well, especially in that third quarter.
Third quarter.
That first half was just awful. And the Steeler defense is so tired. They're so tired because the offense has been inept the last 3 weeks. It doesn't help that they're getting screwed over with the scheduling, with their 4 games in 22 days or something crazy.
Yeah.
But the defense is out there for the majority of the game now, which is they weren't earlier in the year, which is one of the reasons why they were having so much success is they were rested and healthy. Now they're both banged up and dead tired. I mean, Rivers can still manage the game well. They got 2 good backs in Hines and Taylor for Indy.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Colts are going to win this game by a touchdown.
I agree with you. I think this is going to be, the same thing is going to happen in this game because the Indy defense is really good. At this point, they're better than the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And I think that at this point in time right now, I think
like with both teams with the injuries they have and the fatigue they have, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, I can agree with that. I
mean, the Steelers defense being super fatigued, the Indy defense is pretty much rested. I mean, they're, Indy's putting up points, the last 2-3 weeks. They're out there, they're getting stops.
Getting turnovers too, something the Steelers defense hasn't done the last couple of weeks.
Exactly. That's been an absolute game changer. So I think that the Indy defense is going to stifle Ben again. They're going to make him look terrible. They're going to make him look like he wants to retire, hang it up. So I see this Indy winning by maybe 7 or 10.
So yeah, I agree. Like I said, I agree with you. But I could very well see the Steeler offense waking up. I don't think it's going to happen, but I could very well see them waking up and actually giving them a game here. They need to because at the rate they're going, not only are they going to lose in the first round of the playoffs, but they won't even host a game.
Yeah.
They'll be out on the road, probably to Cleveland. Because if they lose this week, they lose next week in Cleveland, they lose the division.
Yeah.
And more than likely, they won't have the tiebreaker over the Colts if they lose this week.
Mm-hmm.
If the Titans are able to win that division, now you're the 6th seed, and you have to go to Cleveland again.
Play the 3 seed.
If the Colts win the division, now you're the 5 seed. You have to go to Indianapolis, who you played 2 weeks ago. So it'll be very interesting to see.
It's such a big game for the Pittsburgh Steelers, man.
And I still don't trust Phillip Rivers in the cold. I just don't. Sunday in Pittsburgh, it's supposed to be 39. So it's not going to be as bone-chilling as it's going to be here the next couple days. It's supposed to be like 14 degrees tonight or tomorrow. So luckily for the Colts, it's going to warm up.
Yeah.
But I still don't trust Phillip in the cold weather, so it could be very interesting.
Yeah.
Could be a 13-10 game.
Very much so. I mean, it's a 1:00 game, so it's not going to be as cold.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Rivers, he's a warm weather guy. He's been in so many years in San Diego.
Yeah.
He's not ready for this. He's not ready for late season football. He's never been ready for late season football.
Yeah. So. And there was a correction that was brought to my attention. He's been to 1 AFC Championship game. He was hurt. And he was hurt. It was back, I forget what year. It was brought to my attention by one of my friends. I forget who they lost to. He was playing hurt though, so.
They probably lost to New England or something like that.
It was either New England or Indianapolis. I don't remember.
Yeah, so. Maybe with Peyton Manning, something like that.
Yeah, we'll do some research. We'll get back to you on that. Yeah. So we'll go to our next game here. It is where is it at? Let me find it. Rams Seahawks. This is the game of the week, in my opinion. 9-5 Rams, 10-4 Seahawks. Rams obviously coming off that awful loss to your New York Jets.
Yeah.
The Seahawks coming off an ugly win across the country in Washington. This is for the division,
Yeah.
more than likely. Rams win. They go up 2-0 on the Seahawks this year. All they have to do is beat the Cardinals next week, which is easier said than done because the Cardinals will probably be fighting for their playoff lives. But if Seattle wins, they go 2 games clear and they clinch. So this game is in Seattle. Seattle is a 1-point favorite. Who do you got?
I got the Rams in this game. I have the Rams surprisingly bouncing back after that dud. And CenturyLink is not the same without his fans. Russell Wilson's always had success there. I think they've only lost 1 or 2 games there this year already. But I like the Rams in this game. I like them bouncing back. No way Sean McVay lets his boys go out there and lay another dud. They're not going to do that. That's not going to happen. So I think the Rams are going to win this game, and I think they're going to win the division. I think so.
So we talked about a couple weeks ago the Steelers, how losing to Washington was almost a best-case scenario.
Okay.
I think that the Rams losing to the Jets might honestly have been a best-case scenario.
Oh, okay.
Because the Jets out of conference, right?
Yeah.
The Seahawks next week, you can't lose that game. This game, if you win, you're probably going to win the division. I mean, does it hurt you in the overall seeding? Maybe. I mean, it might. But I think it's worth it to lose that game rather than the Seahawks game. I think the Rams are going to bounce back. I think that defense is going to shut Russell Wilson down because he has not looked good the last however many weeks.
No.
And I think Goff has a nice bounce-back game. If Cam Akers is healthy, they might win by 2 touchdowns. I don't know if Cam Akers is going to be healthy, though. So
Yeah.
be real interesting to see. But I'm going to take the Rams here. Now, seeding-wise, the NFC, the Saints have the Vikings and Panthers left. They should win both those games.
Yeah.
The Packers should win out. Well, they got the Titans this week, which we'll talk about in a minute. But the Packers should have the number 1 seed pretty much locked up. So it looks like the NFC West winner will be 3. So
yes, I agree.
I think the Rams bounce back, and they bounce back big time.
Yeah, I mean, this could be a huge win for the Rams. I mean, for either team. I feel like if either team wins this game, I think it's just they're just going to launch off, and it's going to be a run in the playoffs. More specifically towards the Rams, because I feel like the defense is more tuned up right now, more than the Seattle defense, which has been terrible all season long. They've been getting better. But I think that if the Rams can win this game, go to Seattle, win the division, I think it's a huge launching pad for maybe an NFC title game. We'll see, though. I really believe that.
All right, I like that take. I almost agree with that take, especially with the Rams. Okay, our next game here is the Titans and Packers on Sunday night. Packers 3.5-point favorites. I don't know what this game is going to hold. I want to hear what you think.
I don't know either. I think this might be – I think, 2 teams are going to have – these 2 teams already have 2 different approaches to playing football.
Yeah.
Titans, heavy run game with Derrick Henry, obviously. Why wouldn't you use him? And then Green Bay is just an absolute air raid with Aaron Rodgers. And sometimes they select to use Aaron Jones when they do use him, he's pretty damn good. And also, obviously, Jamal Williams. So it's going to be a battle between these 2 different types of styles of offenses. And I like Green Bay in this one because, like you mentioned, you're low on that Tennessee defense.
Absolutely.
And I agree, I think Rodgers is going to pick them apart in this game. I think this is a game for Rodgers, and quite honestly.
So Tennessee's defense sucks. We've been over this. Green Bay's run defense is not good.
Yeah.
This game could get ugly scoring-wise. I don't know about getting ugly pulling away-wise, but this game could get way up there in scoring. So the line right now is Packers 3.5. I think they're going to cover that, but I'm looking at over/under 55.5. That's a pretty big number. I think I might take the over on this. Tannehill's looked really good. He got it done with his legs last week.
Mm-hmm.
This rush defense is not good at all in Green Bay. I could see Derrick Henry running for tons of yards. I can see Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball all over the place. This game legitimately could be 41-38.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, maybe Aaron Rodgers leads a game-winning drive, 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. We could see it
I think the Packers are probably going to cover 3.5. If that gets to 3 for Green Bay, that's really attractive
for sure.
if it drops to a field goal there. Um, I think they cover. Like I said, I really do like the Packers. I think they're going to come out of the NFC. I think they have a good chance to win it all. Um, and I don't think the Titans are going to be that much of an issue for them.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so we'll move on here. Monday night, Bills Patriots. The Patriots are in absolute turmoil right now. I don't know who's starting it. You would assume it's Newton, but I don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
The Bills 11-3. Josh Allen might be his last regular season game this year with if they win, and the Steelers. And this doesn't matter what the Steelers do because if they win, they clinch a 2 seed. So they have the tiebreaker over the Steelers. Bills are 7-point favorites here. I think that they're going to go out and they're going to steamroll New England, who's playing for nothing at this point.
yeah. I agree with you. I think I think the Bills are definitely going to take care of business over here. The Bills, they haven't had a stinker this year. Usually, these good teams they don't really, they lose that one game where they're not supposed to lose. I don't see that happening on Monday night. But I think the Bills, yeah, I agree with you. This is going to be Josh Allen's last game because if they win, they clinch a 2 seed. No way Pittsburgh catches them, even if they do win. So I like Buffalo, maybe 34-17, something like that. That's if New England puts up 17 points because the Buffalo defense, all of a sudden,
they're rounding into form and it's getting scary up there.
all of a sudden they look like 2019 Bills. So I like Buffalo big in this one.
All right, so let's take a look at some clinching playoff scenarios here. Obviously, we said the Bills can wrap up that 2 seed and guarantee themselves 2 playoff home games if they win the first one.
Yeah.
With a win, more than likely. That's more than likely going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not a sure thing, but that's a very safe bet. The Titans and Colts both 10-4. The Titans have the Packers and Texans. The Colts have the reeling Steelers and Jaguars. If you're taking it at face value right now, it looks like the Colts are going to get to 12 wins and win the division, in my opinion.
Yes.
Titans would be 11-5. Cleveland with the Jets and Steelers should go to 11-4 this week. Who knows what's going to happen next week? All Pittsburgh needs to do is win one of the next 2, or Cleveland to lose one of the next 2, obviously against Cleveland week 17.
Yeah, I mean, they got to take care of business Sunday.
Absolutely, they do. Because if they take care of business on Sunday, then they can potentially rest and rest some of the defense because that Cleveland game would mean absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
So, especially because they'll have the tiebreak over Tennessee and Indianapolis head-to-head, which almost guarantees them the 3 seed.
Yeah.
So, now it gets interesting here. So, we can almost guarantee that Indy, Tennessee, and Cleveland are going to get into the playoffs. Almost guarantee that.
For sure.
It's just a matter of where they're seated.
I agree.
Miami at 9-5, we already talked about. They're in Las Vegas, almost at Oakland, and then at Buffalo. The Raiders, who are technically still alive, at 7-7, they need to win out, and they need a lot of help.
Yeah.
They got the Dolphins and Broncos, so it's not impossible for them to win out. But here's the problem for them.
Yeah.
Here's the problem for them.
Yeah.
It's the Baltimore Ravens host the 5-9 Giants, who don't look like they want to play football anymore, and then at the 10-1 Bengals. So to me, it looks like the Ravens will be 11-5, also, and get that either 7 or 6 seed, or 5 if they have the tiebreak over Cleveland. So they could still jump up to 5 right now.
They can. I'm looking at that right now.
It's very, very interesting. So who do you think are going to be those 3 wildcard teams?
So I think it's going to be more than likely it's going to be Tennessee, Cleveland, and Baltimore. And I'm looking at the Baltimore schedule right now. They did beat Indianapolis early on in the year.
Oh, really?
Yes. So
they
Baltimore
lost to the Titans too. So.
Yeah. So Baltimore beat Indianapolis. If Baltimore gets to 11-5, Indianapolis goes to 11-5. Baltimore at least has the 6th seed.
Well, if Baltimore wants that, I don't know what seed you're going to want in the AFC.
Yeah, exactly.
Because all three of these games are going to be phenomenal in my opinion. These first
Yeah,
round games, no
for
matter
sure.
if it's Baltimore or Miami who ends up in the playoffs.
Mhm.
But if you're looking at it right now, if you're Baltimore, you're rooting for Pittsburgh this week
Yeah,
for seeding purposes because not only you have the tiebreak over Indy head to head, you beat Cleveland twice. So if you get in with Indy and Cleveland and you're all at 11-5, you're the 5 seed somehow,
yeah.
and you're going to Tennessee to get revenge for the last 2 years.
I like I like Baltimore over Indianapolis, Pittsburgh, Tennessee, or Cleveland. All four of them.
Mm,
I like
interesting.
Baltimore all over four of those teams. Even if they're away, they are going to be away.
I don't think home and away is going to factor in for the
Yeah.
Baltimore Ravens.
No.
I think home and away factors in for Buffalo. I think home and away factors in for Cleveland. And I
Yeah.
think home and away factors in for Indy. Maybe KC, but that doesn't matter at this point. They
Yeah.
already clinched that one. So, oh man, I think that we're probably going to see. Let's say the Steelers win the division, they get the 3. Buffalo's the 2. Indy's going to get the 4 here. Let's say that they win this weekend, next week. Let's say that Pittsburgh beats Cleveland, week 17 wins the division. So you got Baltimore at Buffalo, Cleveland at Pittsburgh, and Indy at Tennessee, or Tennessee at Indy, excuse me.
Yeah.
Or you could have a Baltimore at Buffalo, a Tennessee at Pittsburgh, and a Cleveland at Indy. All these teams have played each other this year.
They've all played each other.
Almost all of them, except
Yeah.
for like Buffalo and the 2 other AFC North teams.
Yeah. These
So
are phenomenal games.
The North played the South this year,
Yeah.
and the East played the West in the AFC, and you've got 5 teams from the North and South. So it's going to be real interesting. We'll quickly look at the NFC here. As we said, the Packers pretty much have already gotten that 1 seed pretty on lock.
For sure.
Saints and Drew Brees, I think, will retain the 2 seed. They got the Vikings and Panthers. The Seattle Seahawks, I almost said Mariners. Seattle Seahawks have the Rams and Niners, as we talked about. The Rams have the Seahawks and Cardinals. I think the Rams win that division, personally.
Okay.
So that puts the Rams at 3 and the Seahawks more than likely at 5. Of course,
Washington.
Tampa has 2 winnable games at Detroit and hosting the Falcons. So they'll probably be a 6. I think Washington wins the East. They're 4. Now you've got the Arizona Cardinals, who play the Niners and Rams.
Ooh.
You have the Chicago Bears, who play the Jags and the Packers. The Bears could sneak into the playoffs.
Yes, they can.
And the Bears can go down to New Orleans with that defense and give Drew Brees some problems. I don't know if they'll win the game, but they will make Drew Brees sweat, especially without Michael Thomas.
100%.
So if we look at these matchups, it's looking like either Arizona or Chicago will be headed to New Orleans. Both should be fairly good games. I expect New Orleans to win both, though.
Yeah.
You've got, in this scenario, it's Tampa headed to LA for a rematch. Tampa lost the first one at home. That should be a great game.
Yeah.
Then you've got your Seahawks and football team matchup.
Yeah.
So
I like these games. And, you just pointed it out, and I agree with you. If Chicago could somehow get that 7 spot, and, I can see them winning that game, honestly. It's more than likely not going to happen. Breeze he hasn't looked that good in the playoff. He didn't look good in the playoff game last year against Minnesota, and that was a good defense.
Minnesota's their kryptonite.
Yeah, look, we can see it later on today. At 3 o'clock, or what time is that game? At 4?
3:30, 4:30, something like that.
Exactly. We can see it later on today, and New Orleans loses that game. And somehow either Seattle or Los Angeles leaks into the 2 spot.
Mm-hmm.
But I like Chicago's chances of going to New Orleans and winning a game there. I think Arizona's going to lose this weekend to San Fran. Chicago.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Ooh, I disagree with you there. Let's go into this game then.
Yeah, let's do it.
So why do you like San Fran?
So, so I like the way that Mullins is playing. He's not, he's not obviously the franchise solution. That's obviously Garoppolo. They're just saving him to next year. But I like the way he's playing. Arizona, they've won 2 games in a row. But listen, that was against the Giants, who are still, the Giants were on the top of the world after they beat Seattle. But the Giants are still the Giants. They're still a 5-win team only. And the Eagles, and they made Hurts look like he's going to be their franchise solution.
He might be though. He looked good.
If they do decide to go down that path. Speaking of Philly, so now I'm looking at San Fran, and based off those 2 games that Arizona's played, I don't think they're ready to mash up against a competent football team. I don't see it happening. They're home, but then again, 49ers have been playing there for the last 3 weeks. So I like the Niners' chances in this game. You know what the line is?
3. Let me check again. I believe
Minus
it's
3 Arizona.
3 for 5. Arizona 5.
Oh man, I'll take the Niners money line in this game.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's bold.
yeah.
The Niners have given up. That's it. The Niners have given up.
You and I were both watching that Dallas game, right, this past weekend.
Kendrick Bourne, thank you.
That fourth quarter where they basically gave up.
They gave up. So right now, if the NFL draft was tomorrow, the San Francisco 49ers would pick 9th.
Yeah.
Around them, the Cowboys, who have a head-to-head tiebreak, the Chargers, the Broncos, and the Lions. Those are all the teams ahead of them at 5 and 9. The teams behind them, the 5 and 9 New York Giants, who have the Cowboys week 17. The Giants will probably still be fighting. You would think possibly would still be fighting at that point for a spot. They could win another game. Philly is playing some inspired football right now, and they've got the Cowboys this week. They could easily win 1 or 2 more games. That is if the football team clinches up and rests people week 17, not guaranteeing that the football team is going to win either of these next 2 games either.
Yeah.
But the Eagles could win 2 more. Deshaun Watson is talented enough to beat the Bengals this week, and the Titans might not be playing for anything week 17 themselves. They could win a couple games. Who knows what's going on in Atlanta? They got the Chiefs and Bucks, 2 very tough games, but they seem to lead against everybody. I'm just saying that there is room for them to fall. And I think that's what they're going to not try to do, but I think that's the idea up in the front office. They're at 9 right now in the order. I think they might try and fall to 6 or 7.
They can fall
and those
that
2
far,
pick slots, 3 pick slots are huge.
Yeah. I agree. If they fall, this is obviously a wasted year, but they're looking to go back to the Super Bowl next year.
I think they might look for a quarterback in the draft.
Do you think so? You think they'll do away?
I think they're done with Garoppolo.
Listen, I think San Francisco, once they reload, this was, like I said, this is a wasted year. But I don't think, they're not going to lose this game on purpose. No players lose games on purpose.
Well, obviously, I'm just saying that the Cardinals are also playing inspired football right now.
Yeah, they are. But I'm saying, this is a wasted year. They fall. Let's say San Fran does fall. They select, maybe, a wide receiver, corner, whatever they need. I think they're legitimate favorites to go back to the NFC Championship game next year. They don't obviously need Garoppolo to throw the ball. He's a system quarterback. He's just a mirror image of Brady. He's a worse, Brady-ish type quarterback. They can just run the ball. They can do the same thing as they did in 2019. Took them all the way to the Super Bowl. Shanahan's a genius with that. I think San Fran's in contention for, NFC Championship bid next year.
The thing is that they're the worst team in their division, and you think they're an NFC Championship caliber team next season.
I really do think that. They're going to load back up on defense. Everybody's injured right now. Everybody got injured.
I don't trust the offense at all. I don't trust the offense at all. I don't care if Garoppolo's your quarterback or not. They have to establish a run game, and they haven't really done that in the second half of this season.
Mostert's been out. McKinnon's been out.
Yeah, but the Cardinals are improving. The Rams defense isn't going anywhere. Goff can play competent football. The Seattle defense can only get better from this year. They are terrible. They can only get better from this year. I don't see it. I mean, I can see them threatening a playoff spot like the Cardinals are this year. I can't see them going back to the NFC Championship game. You've got the Saints, whether that's with Drew Brees or Taysom Hill, they're still better than the Niners, in my opinion. You've got the Buccaneers with Brady. Can't count them out at all. The Packers and Rodgers are the best team in the NFC. Like I said, you have the Rams, Seahawks, and Cardinals in their own division. If the football team gets an actual quarterback and game manager who's able to run that offense, I think they might be better than the Niners. I think the Niners might be the 8th or 9th worst team in the NFC, and that's just at face value. We could go digging into the Cowboys next year, too, with Dak Prescott. They're going to be a good team. The Eagles next year could be a better team. I think the Niners are going to be down near the basement of the NFC next year, no matter how healthy they are. I just can't see it. Like, they could be a really good team. I just can't see it.
Okay.
I can't.
Okay, so you're saying that 2019 year was just a complete.
Also, you lost to Forrest Buckner.
They did. He's in Indy now, but that front four, that front seven is still super strong.
Yeah, but I just their offensive line's no good either.
Yeah. So you're saying that 2019 was just a complete,
It seems to be a fluke.
Okay.
It seems like it. I mean, I could be entirely wrong. That is very possible.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm having a very hard time envisioning the San Francisco 49ers in the 2021 NFC Championship game.
I really do see the Niners reloading. I really do see it. I think they'll be right back at
Maybe
it.
2 or 3 years from now. I don't see it. All right, so Super Bowl matchup for 2020. Who we got?
I mean, it's the same. I don't see any other. It's the NFL. We can see an upset, and we saw Tennessee last year. I just don't see it changing right now between Kansas City and Green Bay. I really don't see it.
I agree with you. But like I said before, I really can see any team coming out of the AFC.
Yeah.
Any of the 7. I mean,
you're saying KC might have a fluke game?
Oh, absolutely. The AFC is ridiculously deep. I think the top 8 teams in the AFC are probably better. Like, they match up the same with the top 4 teams in the NFC. I think the NFC is 4 teams deep.
Okay.
I think the AFC is 8 teams deep that can make a run, and that counts the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, you said 8 teams. Okay.
So, obviously, the 8 are the playoff team and 7 playoff teams right now, well, and the Ravens. So, Ravens, Dolphins, Steelers, Browns, Titans, Colts, Bills, Chiefs. In the NFC, Saints, Packers, Rams, and Seahawks are the 4 teams that I can see legitimately winning the Super Bowl.
I agree. So here's a better question. Who do you see in that AFC Championship matchup?
Chiefs. I hate to say it, but the Bills. I mean, I hate to be boring with the 1 and 2 seed, but
Okay.
I mean, like I said before, I can see somebody just completely. If you want, just right now, just a random upset scenario that I can think of in my head, is I can see the Ravens and possibly the Browns in the AFC Championship game.
Oh,
Like,
man.
if you want to get super crazy,
Yeah.
because if they finish as either 2 wildcard teams or as like 3-5,
It could happen.
it could happen.
Wait, are they reseeding after the first round?
It's just like normal after the first round. So like, if it's 1, 2, 4, and 6 that are left, 6 plays 1, 4 plays 2.
Okay, they'll do the reseeding. Okay.
So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see. Very interesting. So.
Well, who do you have in your NFC Championship game right now?
Packers, Rams.
Okay, I agree with you there. Okay.
All right, so that's all the time we're going to have for today. We've got that was kind of a slow show today, picked up towards the end. In the future, like within the next 2 weeks, I'm talking about, we're going to have a little more heavier college football in the beginning with the bowl games. We're going to have the NHL show coming up on the 12th of January, more than likely. We're going to have an all NFL playoff special. before that first round of games on that Friday, I believe. We might have couple special guests for that one
Okay.
that I've been in talks with. So we got some big stuff coming up. Be sure to let us know what you want to hear in the comments. If you want some NBA talk, I can try and do that. I know Alberto's a little better than that, and I am. We could talk some college basketball when we get closer to March. So just let us know what you want to hear. That's what we're here for. Be sure to like and, of course, subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. Have a Merry Christmas.